What's going on YouTube? So the Lexus RX has long been a pillar of the luxury crossover world, and its sales certainly continue to prove that.
And for 2025, Lexus is making the RX even better by adding new standard technology and new trim levels this year.
So, what's new for 2025, and is this the best luxury SUV that you should buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's get things started under the hood as always. So this continues to be available with 4 different powertrain options. We'll go through the full specifications later on in the review, but as far as this model, it is an unchanged 350h. We have a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine paired with the electric hybrid componentries, makes 246 horsepower. It has standard all-wheel drive, it's paired to a eCVT transmission, and then in terms of your fuel economy, you're setting a very impressive 36 mpg combined.
Now, of course, later on in the drive, we're also going to be getting things like our sound level reading so you can see how quiet this new RX is, and discussing resale and reliability after that.
Well, let's go ahead and close up the hood so we can get into the exterior, which is a good place to point out one of the important 2025 changes. And let's get right into that 2025 change. So like I mentioned, you have those 4 distinct powertrains. Each of those has its own distinct selection of trim levels. So there's a lot of different choices on board, and Lexus has added 2 additional ones for 2025. Now you can get something called the F-Sport Design Package. So what this does is give you those spicier F-Sport elements on the exterior of the RX 350 and 350h models, but without changing the interior or changing the overall handling dynamic. That's why it's not called the F-Sport Handling like what was previously available. Again, that's new to the RX 350, and it's especially new to this RX 350h because it previously could not get an F-Sport trim at all. Now, as you can see, we've got the F-Sport finishes, including that aggressive spindle grille finished in the gloss black. It's the frameless design. You have those more aggressive elements down here on your lower fascia, including this right here. And then in terms of our lighting, you will continue to have standard LED headlights. Of course, those are projectors. You have the signature Arrowhead daytime running light, and you can still option on the triple beam LEDs. Down below, you also have LED fog lamps. Moving around to the back, you continue on with that same athletic look for 2025.
Yeah, and since we do have that new F-Sport Design Package, there's a lot of, spicier elements to the overall look. Now, as far as some of the individual design touches, we do have a hidden wiper under here, and we have a full-length LED taillight. Of course, that's kind of proliferated through the entire Lexus lineup. As far as the taillight unit itself, it is LED for all 3 components, so your brake light, turn signal, and reverse light. And then dropping down to the lower fascia, this is going to be a matte black for this model. However, it's a little bit more aggressive for F-Sport duty. 3,500 pounds is your tow rating.
Now moving on to the wheels, you have lots of options between 19 and 21-inch alloys. This, of course, being the F-Sport model, we have a 21-inch kind of gray finished alloy. One of the things I do want to point out is that you also have a new Blackline Special Edition offering, and I point that out at the wheel because that's one of the main things that changes. Gives you a special design. It also gives you orange brake calipers in addition to a special exterior color, and we'll insert a picture of what that looks like right now. Coming up here to our mirrors, gloss black finish with the F-Sport. You have all the things standard on all of the models, so that includes blind spot monitoring, power folding, heating, and auto dimming on the driver's side.
Now, at the side of the RX, you're going to find a pretty sporty design, and overall vehicle length is 192.5 inches. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, I am happy to tell you that Lexus is including every single one of those as standard equipment on the RX. That's particularly worth noting because a lot of the German competition certainly makes you pay a lot of money extra for those features. But guys, there's a tech enhancement on the inside that we need to dive into. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's move to the interior. Take a look at the key fob here. typical Lexus affair. Of course, you do have a standard smart entry system. I want to point out you also have an available digital key, and you have an available smart park system with your luxury versions. Getting inside, just reach behind the handle. It will unlock the door. This is an electronic door handle, so just pinch it, and that will open it right up. And taking a look at the interior. Of course, you are going to have, mostly the same design for 2025, but there are some important things to talk about. Really, the first thing I want to talk about is regarding the seats, though. So you continue to have seats available in New Lux leatherette, real leather, or semi-aniline leather on your top spec luxury trims. This F-Sport design, though, you'll notice that we have the standard seat, and that kind of is the main thing you need to know about this new trim level, is the fact that it does not change the interior. So even though you've got that sporty exterior, you don't get those sporty bucket seats like you do on the other versions of the F-Sport. You'll continue to get this more classic luxury seat, which is more comfortable and fits more types of body styles. Now, this is a New Lux trim. It's very realistic feeling. You have some suede inserts over here on the side, as well as a quilting detail right through there. And then down below with our seat controls, we have 8 ways of power adjustment and 2-way lumbar support. The luxury trims get some additional adjustments, and all but the base model get memory seats. Now let's go ahead and climb inside. And as far as the rest of the materials, you have a nice leatherette over here on the door trim, leatherette all through here, a little bit of soft touch plastic along the top. Up at the very top, we have soft touch plastic, more leatherette through here, and you'll notice again that we have the genuine wood trim that's going to be here, as well as all through the center console, because it's not replaced with the aluminum on this version. Let's go ahead and fire it up with our standard push button start. Now, we were hinting at it at the intro, and now it's time to talk about the significant tech enhancement for 2025. These gauges. So, we now have the full 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster standard on all RX models. Previously, you had kind of this 8-inch system, which had a display in the middle, and then the rest was analog. Not, the most premium setup for a luxury vehicle. Thankfully, we've now gone to the full digital. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that. And as such, it comes with all the full gauntlet of things you can customize. There's just a few examples, but you can really get into the nitty-gritty details and customize all these individual sections. Head-up display is, of course, available, but not on the F-Sport design. And as we come back to the steering wheel, we've got a power, tilt, and telescoping steering wheel with leather wrapping on all models. This model also gets the nice darkened wood inserts, which is quite luxurious. It is heated as well, and let's turn over here and look at interior storage next. RX performs very strong in this area, so when I fold open this console, you'll notice we have stuffed donuts inside. That's because at Car Confections, that's our logo, and we like to see how many donuts will fit inside so that we can test the volume. In this case, we fit a baker's dozen. That is 13 for those of you who don't know. And that is a very good performance for a vehicle in this segment. In front of that, you have 2 cup holders. The front cup holder is adjustable in terms of height. You can slide that back. You've got a very deep bin with plenty of space. This side of it is also used for a wireless phone charging pad. And then you have another storage cubby right there. The shifter is very small and compact. It's the electronic style, just pulled back for drive. You also have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Going the opposite direction into reverse, you'll see this standard backup camera on most models. This is just your traditional view with active trajectory and guidelines. You can option on a 360 camera, and the mirrors do tilt down in reverse to help you see the parking lines better. Behind that, you have your electronic parking brake with your brake hold function. Now, as we continue our tour on, the next place we come to is this lower panel of the display. So I want to talk about the audio system. First of all, this is the standard 12-speaker sound system. This what's included as standard equipment. You can also get the signature Mark Levinson sound system, but let's hear what this standard one sounds like. Yeah, through our sampling of this sound system, actually kind of impressed by it. It sounds quite nice. 12 speakers is plenty to fill up the cabin. Obviously, though, if you want that extra dimension of sound quality and refinement, you will want to choose the Mark Levinson. Now, also in this lower panel of the screen is your climate setup. This is a 3-zone automatic setup on the vast majority of trims, all but the base model, as a matter of fact. And you can easily adjust the temperature with the physical knob here that's implanted into the screen itself. The other functions are touch sensitive, so you can just make those quick adjustments through there. Some extra climate functions, including Climate Concierge, are located on that menu. And then you also have your heated steering wheel and your automatic 3-stage heated seats, as well as 3-stage ventilated seats, which are included on the majority of models. Now, the screen itself is 14 inches when you count this climate panel at the bottom. Inside of the screen, you've got the latest Lexus user interface, so that includes things like wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That's what I'm in right now, is the wireless Android Auto. When I toggle out of that, you can see you've got some additional functions, including the built-in navigation, and then you can go into various settings. But overall, it is a pretty simple and easy to use system. And by the way, I should point out that you have a smaller 9.8-inch display on your lowest end trim models. Rising above, we have an auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. You can also option on the digital camera rear view mirror. The headliner is very soft and supple, and while I'm up here, I'll go ahead and slide back our standard size sunroof. Most trims do get this as standard equipment. You can also additionally option on a panoramic sunroof for about $500.
So let's see how practical the rear seat area is in this RX. Now, as far as the space is concerned, we'll talk about that first. We're sitting at about 37 inches of legroom and about 37 inches of headroom. So pretty good space figures, although it's not going to be like the largest option you can get in this mid-size segment, so keep that in mind. As far as for someone who's 5'9" like myself, this seat is adjusted to Drew's 5'8" position, and look at that. We have plenty of legroom, about 9 inches of additional knee space. That's really quite good. Also, my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seats, and I have just got to point out how comfortable these rear seats are. These are incredibly plush. I mean, you can just really just sink into them. It feels like you're sitting on a lazy boy sofa. Additionally, I can recline these seats to add additional comfort. Now, speaking of the seats themselves, I do want to point out you can get power seats, and we do have a fold-down center armrest with the cup holders inside. Power seats are standard on the luxury version of this vehicle, as are heated and ventilated seats if you choose that top-end RX. Now, since we have a more moderately equipped one, we're just going to have vents here in the center. We do have our own climate controls, though, and 2 USB ports on the side. If you look over at the door trim, it's going to be same as in the front. You have soft touch on the upper part, leatherette really through the vast majority of it, though, and then we have quite a bit of door storage down in the very bottom. Now, walking up to the cargo area, we have a standard power tailgate on every RX. The kickability is an available feature. And as far as the cargo space is concerned, this is not one of the RX's strongest elements, that's for sure. We're sitting at about 29 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. If we fold those seats down, we're going to have a maximum of around 46 cubic feet. We can easily fold them down, though, with these buttons, so I'm definitely happy to see that we do have the ability to just do that from the cargo area. But 46 cubic feet is worth, pointing out that is pretty much, I believe, the smallest option in the luxury midsize segment. BMW X5, Mercedes GLE, all of those types of vehicles will be significantly larger than that. Now, let's discuss overall cargo measurements, because that's something we get in all of our Car Confections reviews. As far as cargo length, you can expect around 77 inches of length. Do be aware the seats kind of tilt up a little bit, so they are not exactly flat with the floor. From behind the second row, we're sitting at 41 inches of length, 43 inches wide. Now, as far as cargo height, that's where you're really going to notice that this is lacking in the RX, because we have that sloped off roof design. So here at the end of the cargo area, you're only going to be sitting at like about a foot of height. And then even at your maximum point, it's not going to be too much. Unfortunately, the cargo cover is installed, so I can't get that measurement for you. Now, underneath of the floor, we do have a spare tire. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Lexus RX. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting our sound level reading, but first, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, that was 60 miles per hour. Now, like we were talking about at the spec dump, this is a vehicle that's available in a wide assortment of powertrain choices. Some of the most choices that I've seen, maybe outside of like the Mercedes lineup. So you got 4 different ones. This is the RX 350h. So what does that mean? Well, that is the standard version of a hybrid system for them. You have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine paired with your hybrid componentry. That together makes a total system power of 246 horsepower and 233 pound-feet of torque. Now, in terms of in the broad lineup, that is actually the lowest power that you can get in the lineup. However, as you'll find out later on, you also get a big number when it comes to fuel economy.
Yeah, and that acceleration there, I think, just proves the fact that this RX 350h is certainly not like such a weak powertrain that you can't live with it. That acceleration there, I think the electric torque, getting you off the line, and overall power it's really not that bad. I think I would definitely pick this 350h over the standard RX 350, which is probably their most volume selling version. That's going to have a 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder instead, 275 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. So yes, it does make more power than this. However, I think that really just overall, this doesn't feel too different, and the fuel economy is vastly different between the two.
Yeah, this is a worthwhile exchange, I would say, for sure.
And actually, if you were curious as to how much slower it is, we actually have those numbers on board. The RX 350h goes 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds, whereas the RX 350 pure gasoline model is only 0.2 seconds faster. It goes 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds. So really not much of a difference at all. Now, if you're very concerned about 0 to 60 time, you may want to choose one of the other 2 variants. The 500h hybrid variant, that's going to have a 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder. You're also going to have a hybrid system paired to that. Altogether, 366 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. So that's definitely your fastest RX in the lineup. I do also want to point out you have the 450h Plus, which in Lexus speak means that that's a plug-in hybrid variant. We do look forward to hopefully doing maybe a video on one of those in the next couple months to get you a plug-in hybrid specific review, but do know that they offer that.
Now, talking about the available transmissions, well, that actually does vary, again, depending on which powertrain, so you've got a lot of different choices. This hybrid model comes with an eCVT. You can probably hear that right now. Nice and responsive. It's really a good match. Toyota and Lexus as a brand, they really just do excellent hybrid systems. This is no exception. It's just extremely smooth and everything works together nicely. I will just go on and mention you get an 8-speed automatic with the traditional gas-only RX 350 and a 6-speed automatic with the 500h.
Yeah, lots of options with this vehicle. Now, that we're just kind of cruising down the highway section. We cleared out of traffic. I want to discuss ride quality. That is something that every time I review an RX, I leave very impressed with. Now, normally with the F-Sport models, I leave a little less impressed, but since we have the F-Sport design, it's just the exterior design. It does not impact your overall ride quality at all. So this is the standard RX suspension. I think you have fantastic ride quality. This thing is one of the most comfortable vehicles money can buy, and these seats, I have to give these like the A++. When you first sit in them, it's like, oh my goodness, these are incredibly comfortable, and it is very comfort focused. So keep that in mind if you want any of the sporty elements. This is not going to be your choice, but you can get the F-Sport handling model, which will give you an adaptive variable suspension.
Yeah, that one's only offered on the 350, but Yeah, so like Mason was saying, that's kind of the big distinction is previously if you got the F Sport, it was called F Sport handling only. And because of that, the handling meant that you had a sport suspension on board. Not bad riding or anything, that's for sure. It's still, an RX at the end of the day, but this just kind of dials up the plushness going for the standard version. And I think most people, this is the way you're going to want to go.
Yeah. All right, we are going 55 miles per hour. We have it on fan speed 1. Let's go ahead and get our sound level reading. .7 decibels seems to be the number that we have settled in at in the 2025 Lexus RX 350h. Now, we don't sit here and guess how it compares to the competition. We can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, where we posted all of the vehicles we test on this channel. Now, that specific sound level reading won't put this RX at the quietest options in the segment. The BMW X5 certainly has the crown when it comes to this luxury midsize segment. But do keep in mind, as you can see, it's raining. Unfortunately, Mother Nature, started raining on us before we could get this test drive filmed. So that does, of course, negatively impact your sound level reading a little bit. So keep that in mind.
Of course, as a very luxury-focused model, you do have a decent amount of body roll as you go around corners. Steering, though, is nice and responsive, good lightweight, but has good responsiveness to it. Again, you got that 500h F Sport performance model if you really want the maximum performance. That does have rear steering, for example, and if you want to see that in action, we have reviewed each of these models individually, so just kind of go back and check them out individually if you really want the nitty-gritty details about the driving performance of one of those other models.
Yeah, and I think it's now time for us to dive into our slam dunk and airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about the RX. Drew, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the slam dunk?
Yeah, so the slam dunk, I think, is this new F Sport design package, or models, I should say. Very good choice on Lexus' part for this, because I think a lot of people are going to want to go for that sportier exterior design, but keep the interior and the overall ride quality exactly the same as the standard version.
Yeah.
Previously you had to kind of choose to, switch things in the interior and give you those really aggressive bucket seats, for example. And it wasn't even offered at all on the hybrid. So it's nice that you have an F Sport now on the hybrid.
Now, on the airball side of things, you heard me talk about it when it came to the cargo space in the back. This is really just one of the smaller options when it comes to overall space in this midsize segment. The BMW X5 is going to have so much more cargo space than this model, and part of the reason for that is just because it's a lot more sloped off than the X5, so keep that in mind when it comes to practicality. You will be sacrificing a bit with this RX. Now, of course, we couldn't end this review without talking about the fuel economy. That's really the reason that you might buy this RX 350h over the standard gas version, and I promise you won't be disappointed. 37 city, 34 highway, 36 miles per gallon combined out of this model. You have standard all-wheel drive as well, so 36 mpg, fantastic fuel economy, really impressive stuff. Now, if you choose the standard 350 model, that's going to be 24 mpg combined, so big improvement, 12 mpgs for choosing this. That's why I would choose this model. If you want the plug-in hybrid, that can go 35 miles of all-electric range, and then the 500h gets 27 mpg, so not bad fuel economy out of that top-end performance model either. When it comes to your warranty, you have Lexus Signature Warranty as well, which is a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic warranty, 6-year, 70 powertrain. You do also get complimentary service visits. And now let's discuss pricing for the Lexus RX. So for 2025 model year, prices are going to rise between $1,000 and about $3,000 on the high end for price increases this year. Do keep in mind you are getting more features, though. As far as this model, as tested today, we are in the 350H model, 2020 2025, excuse me, model year, not the, 2025, okay. The 2025 model year, we're starting at 55,705. Like I said, we have a more moderately equipped one, so we don't have a ton of options on this. 58,940 plus 1350 destination, all told 60,290. Now keep in mind though, if you want the plug-in hybrid variant or that 500h F Sport performance, you will be sitting in the $75,000 plus range, so keep that in mind. But I'd say most people will be optioning for more of like the $60,000 price point as you've seen today. Now, if you're looking to buy a Lexus RX or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. So first up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Lexus RX's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 53.8%, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 28.1% of original MSRP. Now, it's worth noting that is actually the very best luxury brand for resale value of any of the brands that we look at. So certainly that is very impressive and will be something that you'll appreciate when you go to sell your vehicle later on.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies about reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Lexus is above the overall industry average. It also comes in as the #1 luxury brand.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, as well as our reliability data and our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be all for our in-depth review of the 2025 Lexus RX. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, and us pointing out all of the 2025 changes, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews like this, and you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.